What's going on, YouTube people? Welcome back to the channel. Thank you for joining me on the very first episode of a brand new Let's Play series here on the channel. A couple of days ago, I was on Twitter looking at the Out of Context Football Manager Twitter page. They'd put a tweet out asking for experiments they could do on FM23 before the start of the new season. And a guy called Lee had suggested that they should get Solihull Moors from the Vanarama National League into the Premier League. Now, I got chatting to Lee and I said that I'm actually based in Birmingham. Solihull not being a million miles away, it's actually a challenge that I think I would be up for taking. He had said that he had done it himself and had started a save, and that his friend was attempting one with Wrexham, and they were intrigued to find out how I would get on starting a brand new save with Solihull Moors. So I took that as a challenge, and here we go. We're about to kick off a brand new save with Solihull Moors. So for the purposes of this video, I have to declare that I am using a custom database. If you need a custom database for the 23-24 season, sort it out. So I have already got that up on their website. There is a video on my YouTube channel that will give you a detailed tutorial of how you can download it, how you can utilize it. There has since been an additional thing to add to that video where you can now download a save file that will help you move to the end of the 22-23 season, so you can actually play the game as if you are about to start a brand new save in FM24. And for today's video, we're going to be using Solihull Moors in the 23-24 season, and we're going to look to get them to the Premier League as quickly as we can. Right then, with all that out the way, let's jump into the game and have a little look at Solihull Moors. So you can see we are now the manager of Solihull Moors. It says that we have been appointed on a £1,200 per week contract, and we replace previous manager Neil Ardley. If we go forwards to have a little look around the club. Welcome to Solihull Moors. It's great to have you here. As part of your induction, you'll shortly be given a welcome pack, and we'll go through the club's vision and objectives. It's a momentous day and truly a sign of great things to come. So they have a media reputation of 2 stars. They don't have a director of football. Media prediction is 4th in the Vanarama National League. Their assistant manager is James Quinn. Their club history, they have 1 trophy, that being the Vanarama National League North. Current season, they finished 7th last season. They were knocked out in the 3rd round of the FA Cup and knocked out in the 3rd round of the FA Trophy. A bit of background: although the Moors are enduring a 7-year barren spell, having not won a competition since 2016, the club still have a history which they can be proud of. Solihull Moors finished runners-up in the English 5th tier for the only time in 2019, and won the English 6th tier for the only time in 2016. We will play our home games at Damson Park with a 3,050 capacity that was built in 1995. Let's move on. Having a look at our first 11, they like to play in a 4-3-3, I think we'll call this. Boot is the goalkeeper, Newton, Morrison, Howe and Clark, Osborne, Maycock, Sabara, Dallas, Danawa and Beck. And that is the starting 11 that our assistant manager will be putting forwards and suggesting that we will play. And obviously, as we do not have transfers in the first transfer window, that could well be the lineup that gets us through to January. If we move on forwards to the next screen, have a little look at the club culture and the club vision. So they want to sign players under the age of 22 for the future, develop players using the club's youth system, play possession football, play attacking football, play entertaining football, work within the wage budget, and then they want to have a Vanarama National top half finish, reach the FA Cup proper, and reach the latter stage of the FA Trophy. And then going forward, they want to be in the playoffs and then challenge for a playoff place going forward. So hopefully that won't be too difficult. Move on to the next screen. The club vision for the supporters culture. They want to strive to make progress on and off the pitch, and they want a top half finish straight away, and they want to get the better of rivals Redditch if we happen to play against them. Moving on, we aren't going to meet the media. We don't want an intra squad friendly either, and we're going to go for monthly for our backroom staff. So with everything set up, let's jump into the game and have a little look around the club and see who we have got in the rest of the squad and show you the tactic we're going to be using for the upcoming season. To kick things off, let's have a little look at the club information page and see what we are working with. So they have a 1.5-star regional reputation. Finances are 3 stars, so that's okay. They have below average training facilities, great youth facilities. Junior coaching is good academy coaching. Youth recruitment is above average youth recruitment. So hopefully we have some things to work with there. Once we get the first youth intake come in, we can hopefully start to develop some of our own players, because at the moment we're probably not going to be able to go out and buy anybody, certainly not with the first transfer window shut off. Looking at our club captain, it's Callum Howe. He's a 29-year-old centre-back who can cover as a striker. Our key player is Joe Sabara, a 24-year-old attacking midfielder. Looks like he was playing previously for Burton. He can play in a number of positions. And our hot prospect is Jack Myatt, who is an 18-year-old young goalkeeper. So it's saying, like at the start of the game, that they wanted to set up in a 4-3-3 formation. I am actually not going to be playing that at all. The tactic that I have chosen is one that I've created myself. It's called the odd 4-3-3. And as you can see, it does resemble a 4-3-3, but it pretty much is a 4-3-1-1-1 with the kind of offset asymmetrical forwards and the inverted winger on the left-hand side. We've got a sweeper keeper, 2 wing backs, 2 ball-playing defenders, 2 secundo volantes, defensive midfielder, the inverted winger, deep line forward, and an attacking forward. So hopefully it's not going to be too adventurous for Solihull Moors. Might be a bit of a square peg round hole to begin with, because the players that we have might not fit the positions necessarily, but hopefully with a bit of moulding and them getting used of the tactic, we can hopefully get the players in and get used to the tactic and start to win games. Speaking of the squad and square pegs round holes, we don't have that much to work with. We have 2 goalkeepers in Ryan Boot and Jack Myatt. We have 2 central defenders in Callum Howe and Carl Morrison. We then have a right back who can cover as a centre back in James Clark. We have Joe Newton. 2 defensive midfielders in Callum Maycock and Johnny Osborne. We have Max Brogan as a midfielder centre. We then have Justin Denawa on the right hand side. Sabara, Matt Warburton can play in a number of positions. Jack Stevens and Josh Kelly as the attacking midfielders or makeshift strikers. Mark Beck, Connor Hall and Andrew Dallas all playing as out-and-out strikers. If we go into the Dev Centre and have a little look through there, in terms of the under-18s, there are only 3 players that we can promote, 2 of which are defensive midfielders and the other one is a striker. So probably positions that we don't need, but we might have to turn to later on in the season. Certainly with that first transfer window shut or turned off, it means that we can't sign anybody. But as soon as we hit January, that will be the green light for us to start improving this squad. In terms of the finances, it looks like we have no money at the moment. It does say next season's budget is 21,000, so it's probably 0 money anyway. In terms of the wage budget, 16,537, so there's actually £1,000 spare in the wage budget. So if we could sign somebody, we could either put that all into one player or we could split it into 2. Okay. Let's have a little look at the squad planner before we move on. If we go to the report and the assistance report, this is how we would line up in the formation that I have picked. Quite a lot of strengths there. There are a few weaknesses too, but it's now got Boot, Newton, Morrison, Howe, Clark, Martin, Maycock, Osborne, Sabara, Dallas and Warburton. So interesting that it does think we can fill all of the positions. Sabara now being played on the wide left, says he's a superb option there, so obviously he can play that. If we go into the other best 11, we can see where the squad really is thin. So we've got our best 11, but we have positions in the purples where we don't have enough youth players to fill those positions. So hopefully once that first youth intake does come in, we can start to develop and work with those. Anything else we need to look at? Schedule. So as you can see, there are fixtures already played in the game. That is because that is the 22-23 season done. If we move forwards, we have friendlies set up for the start of the brand new season. As I said, we are going to be working from the 23-24 season. Our next game is against Brighouse in a friendly. We have those set up going into August, and then hopefully we will get the fixtures for our league campaign. So then, that pretty much rounds up everything at the start of the game, everything you need to know about the club, the squad, the tactics we're going to be using. The only thing to do is jump forwards to January and give you a quick update at the end of this video how we're getting on, and then move into that first transfer window and see what wheeling and dealing we can do, hopefully strengthen the squad. Okay, we have now jumped forward. It's the 1st of January 2024, and that means we're roughly around halfway through the Vanarama National League season. Before I go any further, there is one quick thing I want to point out before anybody spots it. I think there was an error in the database when we moved the date forward to start in the 23-24 season. Somehow Walsall have ended up in the Vanarama National League. Now I know that in the 23-24 season they won't be, they will be in League 2. I think though when we started the save there was a couple of games left in League 2, which meant that they have been relegated. Doesn't really affect how the save is going to work because we're only playing the Solihull Moors, but if you spot Walsall in anything that's about to happen, it's a database thing and it's not really going to affect the gameplay. So back to us. We are sat top of the Vanarama National League after 24 games. Let's run through some of those. So we've played 24, we have won 18, we have drawn 2, lost 4, got a goal difference of 30, and we have 56 points. That puts us 3 points clear of Woking, and it puts us 12 points clear of Torquay. If we go into the schedule to show you the breakdown of the games and show you that we actually started off the season on fire. We won the first 4 games, beating Oldham, Ebbsfleet, Boreham Wood and Southend before we lost our first game 4-3 to Woking. We then went on another stretch of games where we didn't lose. Aldershot, Kings Lynn and Gateshead all bringing in 3 points. We drew with Barney and Hartlepool back to back in a 2-2 and 3-3 draw, which were highly entertaining. We beat Halifax, Eastleigh, Warrington, Maidenhead, Chesterfield and Fylde before a 1-1 draw against Boreham Wood in the FA Cup. We lost to Dagenham and Redbridge 2-1, beat Morecambe 4-2 before losing to Boreham Wood 2-0 in that FA Cup first round replay. We lost to Torquay 2-1 in the Vanarama National before beating Bromley. We then lost to South Shields, and we are currently on a good run of form where we have gone unbeaten in 5 games. Beating Walsall, who I just mentioned, shouldn't be in the league, but they are there, so we're playing against them, and we beat them. Dartford, Gloucester, Rochdale and Oldham, and that brings us up to date in the competitions, which means we are top of the league. As I said, no transfers in or out because of that first window being shut, but the good thing about it is that now we are at the 1st of January, we can start to bring players in. Looking at the finances, it's not as easy as said. We did have to renew a few contracts just after I advanced forwards, which meant that we are now currently overspending by about £500. Our transfer budget is £18,000, so we're probably going to move that across into the wage budget to try and even that up, even though it probably won't affect it too much. Looking at the squad, as you can see, still not expanded. We didn't promote the players from the under-18s. We left them where they are. But looking at the squad, our top goal scorer at the moment with 24 goals is Andrew Dallas, playing as a deep lying forward. He's absolutely crushing the Vanarama National League. 24 goals from 26 appearances in all competitions. He's got a 7.33 average rating. So he has started the season off on fire. We have 17 assists coming from Joe Sabara. As I said, set up really as a central midfielder, but can play wide left, which is where he's playing as that inverted winger role. So another one who has started the season strongly. In terms of assists coming from left back, Joe Newton, former Coventry player. He has provided 10 assists, playing really good football in the Vanarama National League. And I think that is pretty much it in terms of the squad and the updates that we need. But players chipping in goals, actually. Matt Warburton's another one that I should have shown you. He's another player playing at the top end of the pitch in the advanced forward role. He has managed to score 19 goals from 27 games. So that pretty much brings us up to date, and that is where I'm going to leave this episode. So you've seen us start the game. We move forward to January. We are leading the league, and this tactic is absolutely smashing the Vanarama National League at the moment. In the next episode, I am going to be going through the January transfer window, so we'll come back around the 2nd of February, show you any players that we have brought into the club, plus give you a run through of the ins and outs, if there are any. And then I think for episode 3 we'll push on to the end of the season. That means that the format is pretty much going to follow that. There'll be 3 episodes a season where we go through summer transfer window, then we go through to January, have the winter transfer window, and then end of season. We'll keep that rolling as long as we can until we get to the Premier League and until we win trophies. But all is looking good at this point, and I think this is going to be a fantastic attempt to get us to the Premier League. Right then, if you're still here at this point of the video, firstly, a big thank you. Secondly, if you don't mind hitting that like and subscribe button to help the channel grow, I really appreciate it. Bit of funny things going on with YouTube at the moment. Seems to be losing a bulk of subscribers, then gaining a big bulk, and then losing a few and gaining some more, and really can't gauge where we are at the moment. So if you can do anything to help, if you're hearing my voice and you really want to help the channel out, it's like, subscribe, comment, do everything you can to interact with the videos to really push them forwards with YouTube and that dreaded algorithm that they like to talk about. Before you go, don't forget there's other things on the channel. We have Let's Plays, Wonder Kids, hints, tips, tutorials, including how to get this 23-24 database and that jump forwards in date. There are other videos. There's something for everybody on the channel. But for this one, I'm going to leave it there. I hope to see you on the second part of the Solihull Moors save, and I'll be bringing that to you very soon.